The interesting thing, Wednesday into Thursday, guys start hallucinating. That's all true. You'll see things. Your body's so sleep deprived, you start, they're called micro sleeps. And it's just that your brain is so sleep deprived, it as a survival defense mechanism, it just puts you to sleep.
Wake up!
Like running. Like I literally I will never forget, I was running under the boat on Friday morning, and we were by the SEAL compound, and we were running down to the demo pits, which are about, I don't know, a mile and a half away. And I remember kind of looking over at the compound, and the next thing I know, we were at the demo pits. So I literally was sleeping under the boat as we ran down the beach.
So you finally finish Hell Week. What's that feeling right after? When you finally get a warm shower, you get a warm bed to sleep in, you get a nice meal. What's that feeling like? What do you think are the biggest misconceptions about Hell Week? Because everyone has these, what they think it's like, but like, what are some of the biggest misconceptions that people have about how it actually is?
Man, I've heard such crazy things out there that make me laugh. I've heard they drown you, they hold you underwater till you drown, and then they bring you up and resuscitate you. I've heard you have to kill a puppy in SEAL training. Some ridiculous things out there. The puppy thing is totally not true, ever. That never, ever happened in the history of SEAL training. But the drowning thing is kind of interesting because, no, they don't hold you underwater, but there are a lot of evolutions that guys pass out. And there are many evolutions. The 50-meter underwater swim, which nothing in SEAL training is straightforward. Everything has a twist designed to be unfair to make it more difficult. And because of that, frequently, many guys will pass out in that 50-meter underwater swim, and then they have to be brought up and obviously, revived. In Hell Week, a lot of what they tell you in Hell Week is, the things that are out there are pretty true. Hell Week is brutally difficult. It lasts roughly, a little over 5 days, and goes from Sunday to Friday. And during that week, the average student gets 2 to 3 hours of sleep that entire week. During that week, you probably 90% of the time you are wet, coated in sand. It is you are constantly moving. You are constantly doing very difficult evolutions. What a lot of people don't realize is every week in Hell Week, you have to do a run, an obstacle course, a swim, and various other physical evolutions that are all timed. And Hell Week is no different. So, except the only difference during Hell Week is now you're doing all this extra stuff, but you still have to pass your run. You have to pass the obstacle course. You have to pass all these things on top of all the massive mind games and the adversity you're facing from that. It's not uncommon. The majority of guys quit by most individuals in Hell Week. You'll lose 80% of the class in Hell Week. That is a true statement.
Wow.
And the majority quit within the first 48 hours. So by Tuesday night is kind of the big clean out. And really by Wednesday morning, it's pretty rare that you have individuals that quit after that. They pretty much have culled the people out who are not 1,000% committed to be there. The interesting thing, Wednesday into Thursday, guys start hallucinating. That's all true. You'll see things. I remember on Friday, your body's so sleep deprived, you start, they're called micro sleeps. And it's just that your brain is so sleep deprived, it as a survival defense mechanism, it just puts you to sleep. Like running, like I literally I will never forget, I was running under the boat on Friday morning, and we were by the SEAL compound, and we were running down to the demo pits, which are about, I don't know, a mile and a half away. And I remember kind of looking over at the compound, and the next thing I know, we were at the demo pits. So I literally was sleeping under the boat as we ran down the beach. So pretty amazing what the human body can do. It is definitely, it is definitely very difficult, but it teaches you a lot. I mean, I attribute making it through Hell Week with the ability to overcome so many difficult things, including the night that I was wounded. And I know a lot of SEALs that have been in super difficult situations in combat have said the same thing.
Wow. Was there a moment where the thought of quitting like entered your head? Like, did you ever consider it while you were in the middle of it? I
think it was every other moment. So
wow.
Yeah. No, man. Absolutely. I think everyone. I think there's only one individual out there who will say, I never once thought about quitting, and those individuals are called liars. It is very difficult, and everybody gets pushed to their breaking point. The instructors are very good at doing that. And most of the time, I don't want to say all the time, there are some amazing genetic freaks who are really good at everything, but the vast majority of people have a weakness. For me, I was a good swimmer. I wasn't a great swimmer. So that could have been a weakness for me. And they will look for these things and they'll use them to put pressure on you to try and create additional adversity and pain points and discomfort, to push you over the edge to get you to quit. If you are an individual. So any of those things can be, can apply. And that's what they want to see. They want to find out, hey, what is your push button that we can really get you going? And then once they find that out, how do we continue to apply that pressure? And either A, you quit, or B, you harden up and you push through it and get to the other side.
Fellas, do you want your grooming routine to be a one and done deal? Well, the days of using the same trimmer for your face and your private parts are over, thanks to our friends at Manscaped. Manscaped is now offering the ultimate package to trim both your beard and the boys downstairs using 2 separate razors, because, I mean, why would you want to use the same razor for both? And so in this package, you'll find the beard hedger. And what really sold me on this is that you can actually pick the setting that you want. And so without even taking off this top part. So you just find the perfect length for you, and then you're all set to go and trim your beard, and it comes out perfectly. And then this right here is a Lawnmower 5.0, and this is for the boys downstairs. You can get 20% off your order and free shipping if you use the code Young and Alive at checkout. Again, if you use the code Young and Alive at checkout, not only do you get 20% off, you also get free shipping on your order. Thank you to Manscaped for sponsoring today's video. So when you're in those like terrible moments where like you feel like you're going to quit, what did you tap into? Was there something that you kept on telling yourself, or is it just like you were just so committed to where like you knew you weren't going to quit?
It's probably a combination of both. I think what I try and tell people is you've got to look past the situation you're in. I have a online course called the Overcome Mindset course where I talk about how we deal with adversity in life. And rule number 1 is don't physically quit. And it's interesting. It's the same lessons that I talk to other young guys that are going through SEAL training. The interesting thing is, both in life and in SEAL training, quitting is most of the time an emotional response. And I try and explain to people, because when I was younger, I didn't see it this way. I felt like if you ever stopped anything, that was quitting. There are strategic reasons to stop doing things in life. Most of the time when you quit, you are in a massive moment of discomfort or pain, and it's an emotional response. I don't think I can do this anymore because this is too painful or I am too uncomfortable. You don't know the outcome. You don't know how long it is. So you're basically saying, I don't know how long I can endure, when you don't really know how long that is. You may be able to endure for a whole nother week or months. But you place this limit in your mind and allow emotion to creep in, and that's why guys go ring that bell. But what I tell them, and it's no different in life, I watch this with individuals in business situations, relationships, sports, I don't care what it is. They'll quit because they have allowed the emotions and the pain and the discomfort to build to a level where they think, I can't do this anymore. And I'm like, why would you do that? Because you're making an emotional decision when you don't really know the outcome. And the thing is, you can't really control that. There are unknown variables out there that you don't know. The only variable that is guaranteed is if you don't ring the bell in SEAL training, you have an 80% chance of graduating. So we have an 80% attrition rate, but if you remove ringing the bell, you now have an 80% chance of graduating. There's some performance variables, and there's some obviously injuries are a big thing that gets guys in training. Those are the things that are unknown. So I tell guys, don't physically quit. Don't ring that bell. You can't. That is the one thing that you can control, and that applies in life too. I always tell people, if you truly feel like you want to quit, if you truly feel like, hey, I just can't do this, never do it in the middle of the pain and discomfort. At least get to the other side and then reevaluate. Decide, hey, when you're not emotionally compromised, when you're not compromised by pain and discomfort. So everything in SEAL training has a beginning and an end. I mean, Hell Week has all these different evolutions. So you'll do maybe 3-4 hour evolution, and then there'll be somewhat of a break before you move to the next evolution. There'll be a meal. There'll be, a time for everybody to go to the bathroom. So, it's during those times there's a little bit of comfort. You could try and get warm by huddling with your buddies or things like that. It's in those moments that you reevaluate and you say, hey, in the case of Hell Week, I would say you need to wait to the end of Hell Week. But most people don't do that. They'll quit right in the middle of whatever emotional thing. Number 2, don't mentally quit. And this is an interesting thing. The vast majority of people in this life quit long before they ever physically quit. They quit up here before they actually quit whatever it is they've decided. So that doubt creeps into their head, and it happens in SEAL training. We'll be getting... we used to call it surf torture, and they're not allowed to call it that anymore. That's too damaging to say.
Yeah.
So it's now called, I think it's called surf immersion therapy. Same thing.
It's the same thing, yeah.
Yeah, you lay in the water, you lay on the beach, head down with your head towards the ocean, locked in arms with your teammates, and the waves crash over you. So you're getting sand and the water in your uniform. And out in California, obviously, the water is very cold, so they keep you out there till you're near hypothermic. And many guys, and you'll do that all throughout Hell Week. So many guys, the first time they do it, they do okay. But then after you're cold for so long that your muscles are locking up from shivering, more iterations of, surf torture, you start to question, do I have the ability to do this? And that's where that doubt and the mentally quitting starts. Start telling yourself, I can't do this. You're on the glide path. Mentally quitting always intersects with physically quitting. So I try to tell people, you got to change your mindset. You got to tell yourself, I can do this. I have the ability to do this. Yes, it sucks. It was going to suck. I knew it was going to be cold. I knew it was going to be miserable. So I can do this. I will endure. The other people are there with me also. So, and then the other thing I tell people how to avoid it is many people in this life, we get caught up, and SEAL training is phenomenal for this, in this idea that, hey, it's not fair. Something happens to you. Now, you're already emotionally compromised because you're going through something hard. You're already doubting yourself, so you're starting to get into that mentally quitting zone. And then something else comes along that knocks you off your path that was unexpected and might even be deemed unfair. And that will cause people to just break. SEAL training is designed to be that way. And a lot of special operations training is designed to be that way. We will tell you, hey, you need to go do A, B, C, and D. And you'll go execute A, B, C, and D, and you'll do it flawlessly. And then the instructors, when you're done, will be like, hey, dumbasses, why didn't you do P? And you're like, well, because you told us to do A, B, C, and D. And they're like, we don't care what we told you. You should have done P. And then you get beat for it, and you'll be doing surf torture. And, they'll blame someone they'll try and create dissension. They'll be like, Brian, you should have done P and told the class to do P. So now the class is like, we hate you, Brian.
Yeah.
And it just creates chaos. And what happens, and it all through training, they'll do this. And what happens is you either get very mentally hardened to the fact that, guess what, it's going to be unfair. They're going to tell us how to do it, and then they're going to fail us, and then they're going to beat us for not doing it right when we did it right. And if you can wrap your head around that, and you can put a smile on your face, and you can say, let's go, guys. Let's go get beat again for doing it right. You'll make it. And it's a lot like life, man. Life is not fair. We all have these great plans, and oftentimes they go sideways. And it's the people who go, okay, well, I'm going to keep driving forward and figure out a path. That is the overcome mindset. That's what I teach in that course. That's what I try and tell guys going through training. And if you can apply that in your own life, you'll definitely find higher levels of success.
So you finally finish Hell Week. What's that feeling right after? When you finally get a warm shower, you get a warm bed to sleep in, you get a nice meal. What's that feeling like?
Amazing. Making it through Hell Week's a pretty amazing thing. I mean, the biggest thing I remember, we finished. The first thing they do is they've got to medically check you. They make sure everybody's okay, because it's not, like I said, you'll chafe holes in your body. I mean, guys will be bleeding. They'll have holes. Fingernails and toenails will have fallen off during the week. So the first thing they want to do is medically check, take care of everybody. And then they fed us. So we had pizza and Gatorade. And then a lot of us went and called family. And then a lot of guys went to bed. I wanted a hot shower. So much so that the shower bay in the basic SEAL compound was kind of like a 12-man open bay shower with these 12 jets that, 2 on the end and 5 down each wall. And I went in the shower and I adjusted every single jet into a metal and plastic chair I dragged into the shower from my room. And I turned all the jets on and passed out in this chair in this glorious warm shower to try and heat my frozen bones. So that was kind of the culmination of Hell Week for me.